Hi, welcome everyone. This is our April Wednesday webinar. I'm Karen Menti. I'm a librarian with the UAGC Library and the liaison to the Forbes School of Business. We have you here every third Wednesday of the month just to take a little deep dive into one of our library collections. And today we're so fortunate to have Jimmy McCollery from Clarivate here. He's going to walk us through ProQuest Central. ProQuest is one of the largest collections in our library. It's a multidisciplinary research database. It covers all major subject areas, including business, technology, health, medical, social sciences, arts, humanities, you name it. The collection includes thousands of full-text scholarly journals, trade and professional titles, newspapers, magazines, dissertations, working papers, case studies. You get the gist. Before we dive into Jimmy's presentation, I just wanted to walk you through how to get to ProQuest in case you want to follow along. You can get to it through the UAGC library, and keep in mind everything in ProQuest is discoverable by the Library One search box. So Library One Search, think of it as our search engine for the UAGC library collections. So you'll find things in ProQuest searching in this box. But I highly recommend what we're going to learn about today is all the features that the platform ProQuest Central has to offer. And so if you want to get to the platform itself, we go to Find Articles and More, and our trusty databases A to Z list. From here, we can jump down to P for ProQuest. And this is, of course, we have many different collections within ProQuest. So this is going to search all our platforms at once. And with that, I'll hand things over to Jimmy. Thanks for being here, Jimmy.
Thanks for having me, Karen. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. And before I do that, I'm actually going to stop my video just to make sure that all my bandwidth goes to the screen sharing. I like to start on video to let you know there's a real human on the other side of the computer, but just to make sure that the image is crystal clear while we're actually going through the content, I just want to turn that off. I can now share my screen. Oh, actually, it looks like screen sharing is disabled. It mentions.
Sorry, let me fix that
Okay,
for you.
sure
Yeah,
thing.
my bad. Let's see. You are now co-host. You should be able to share now, but let me know if you get any trouble.
Sure thing. I'll go ahead and click that again. Yep, looks like it's working now. I'll go ahead and share my entire screen. And we'll go ahead. Looks like it's coming through. So just let me know if you're not seeing my title slide.
Looks
But
great. Thank you.
awesome. Thank you very much. So again, thank you very much for having me today. Good morning to everyone. And I wanted to thank you also again in such a busy day or time of year for being able to join this session to talk about the fantastic resource that is ProQuest Central. Again, my name is Jimmy McCollery. I'm your dedicated customer success and training manager at ProQuest, which is now part of Clarivate. And I've been with this organization for quite some time. I'll be celebrating my 24th work anniversary this July. Just a couple of housekeeping points ahead of our lesson. I will make my slide deck available after our session if anyone wants to review that resource while you perhaps are also reviewing the class recording. It definitely is nice to be able to spend a little bit more time on the slides and drinking the information a little bit longer than what we have time for today. But again, feel free to ask questions in the chat during the presentation. We're going to dedicate some time at the end of our webinar to answer questions. Just so happens if there's a question that we can't answer live, I'll be sure to note that and follow up in a written response format so that everyone can benefit from that answer. And before we dive in, I did want to mention you'll have an opportunity to share your learning experience feedback in a quick 2-question survey. I'm going to put a link to that in the chat at the end of our session. It's completely optional, but we really appreciate all feedback that ends up submitted through that form. Now, just to level set just a bit before we get into the content of our training session today. I wanted to mention, that we're going to be looking at an overview of the ProQuest Central product, the service itself. I'm going to be highlighting some of the many databases that are in that ProQuest Central resource. We're going to be looking at how to create that My Research account when we get to the demo segment of our presentation today. And then we're going to look at, some advanced and basic search functionality in the platform, and also using, some of the tools primarily pertaining to the advanced search interface that really helps you develop a precise search to drill down and find exactly what you're looking for. And, by the end of those points, our sort of measurable learning objectives is that by the end of this session, everyone should be able to identify the strengths of the ProQuest Central product or platform and be able to use ProQuest Central to locate diverse content types for use in research and teaching. Now, let's first start with sort of that essential question, which is, what is ProQuest Central? And that is, ProQuest Central is a multidisciplinary database that includes 47 complete databases from the ProQuest platform. Our product manager experts explicitly curate each one of these databases for its discipline area and quality. And ProQuest Central covers more than 175 at this point subject areas, with a high percentage of full text content journals and many more source types essential for scholars, faculty, and students. Now, talking about those unique, those 47 unique databases, ProQuest includes some of our most used databases in this service. They span across news, business, health research, sci-tech, the arts and social sciences, and many more interdisciplinary and regional databases. Region-focused databases cover Australia, New Zealand, Europe, Asia, India, Latin America, Canada, the Middle East, and Africa. Now, this image on the screen is color-coded for the various disciplines, but it may be a little bit hard to see depending on, how large your screen is due to the, overall number of items on this infographic. And I'm going to be going into more detail on the individual databases in just a moment. But you're able to search each one of these databases individually if you'd like, or you can perform sort of a cross search with others for a more comprehensive result set that can help, aid in the overall quality of your research and your research project. Excuse me. ProQuest Central aims to bring together the most important scholarly journals in major disciplines and subjects, and to provide many types of content for study, teaching, and research. We've got trade journals, news, business cases. We have videos, market and industry reports, blogs, and more are all found in this resource. ProQuest Central includes the latest scholarly research, first released working papers, dissertations, and conference papers in ProQuest can take 3 or more years to get published in academic journals or books. So you're essentially getting, an early view of the scholarship for that resource. ProQuest Central contains about 13,000 full-text scholarly journals from publishers such as Springer, Cambridge University Press, The Lancet, the New England Journal of Medicine, Elsevier, MIT Sloan Management Review, and many more. You'll also find over 8,000 newspapers, trade journals, and magazines, including the Hindu, Le Monde, South China Morning, The Post, The New York Times, The Economist, The Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, Billboard, and more. There's more to that. So, talking a little bit about, what's new in ProQuest Central, the service is always adding new content. As part of our May 2023 update, we added over 775 new full text titles. And you'll see that on the visual on screen, you can see that it's distributed among new journals, magazines, newspapers, and other content types. Specifically, more than 450 new journals have been added in the past year, more than 180 blogs, podcasts, and websites, more than 25 new magazines, and 24 brand new newspapers and trade journals were added. A few of these highlights are shown here on the left of the screen, including new journals from Springer Nature, Cambridge University Press, Taylor and Francis, and environmental impact statements from the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA in the United States. Other highlights are the MIT Technology Review, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, news programs transcripts, and some citizen media stories from Global Voices Online. And just to point out some even more recent content enhancements or additions would be we've got over 60 new business journals that have been added. We have over 150 full text, side text scholarly journals. And we also have 120 full text scholarly health and medicine journals. And I'm going to point out later in our presentation, we actually have a sort of a live service center article on our support page that updates regularly to show all of the new content in the collection and really goes much more further in depth and into each one of those resources than we have time for now. But we're always adding something new, and that's great to see. A recently introduced enhancement back in, I believe it was March 16th, 2023, is a Web of Science journal citation reports. These metrics were integrated into the ProQuest platform publication and document pages. You're going to find the journal citation indicator, which gives the journal's citation impact compared to average journals in the same category. And that's now available to all ProQuest subscribers. And I did want to mention, I don't believe you've got, please, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Karen, but I don't believe you've got access to Web of Science currently. But I did want to mention that if you're an institution that has both a ProQuest subscription and Web of Science, you would also see what's called the Journal Impact Factor. And that's, again, when I say all ProQuest subscribers, that would be the all subscribers to any ProQuest product on the ProQuest platform, whether that's ProQuest Central or if you have other ProQuest content available. So really you can see how sort of influential a particular publication is that you're reviewing. Excuse me. Next, let's touch on the databases for some of those specific subject areas available as part of the ProQuest Central repository. First, we'll focus on news. ProQuest Central provides global news stream, which includes US news stream, Canadian news stream, and the international news stream. And you'll notice that on the left side of the slide here, the image on screen, note the 5 major US daily papers. We have the Chicago Tribune, Los Angeles Times, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post. US regional newspaper groupings and critical newspapers from other countries will also appear. These can be cross-searched with other newspapers and even other databases within ProQuest Central or your ProQuest subscriptions, or they can be set up to be accessed individually or in groups by your administrator, your ProQuest administrator. If your administrator needs help, setting this up or configuring anything really pertaining to your instance of ProQuest, you can always reach out for assistance by emailing training@proquest.com. And I'm also going to point out a dedicated LibGuide that we maintain for this product as well that has a lot of great learning resources and also administrative resources as well. And then finally, I just want to mention Canadian news sources include the Globe and Mail and the Toronto Star. European news stream, it comprises the Guardian and the Times and the Sunday Times of London. You'll also see Financial Times if you are an academic customer, as well as news from across the globe, and that from Asia to Latin America to the Middle East and Africa and more. It's all contained within this collection. A clear slice of sort of what's going on in the world. Now, you might ask, why global news stream? Well, in addition to the news, the comprehensive news covers a wide range of geographic areas. This global news stream also captures online versions of newspapers as the print versions sync to the service. That's one reason having a global news stream is essential. It's it has vital online news sites. You've got blogs and videos from sources like the New York Times. You've got Washington Post video and also CBS 60 Minutes. Now, touching on the business component, there are 4 major business products that are included in the service, and they include the best-in-class ABI Inform collection and several other databases that you see circled on your screen, namely accounting, tax, and banking collection, the Asian and European business collection, and also the business market research collection. Now, as an aside, I did want to also touch on, sort of toward the end of our demo, the entrepreneurship database. But I did want to point out that's actually a separate component of the ProQuest platform. Entrepreneurship database isn't directly part of the database collection you'll see for ProQuest Central. And I'm going to show that to you in just a moment. We've got here, full text medical databases that are part of the ProQuest Central collection here. That would include, medical collection, medical databases, consumer health database, healthcare administration database. You've got nursing and allied health database, psychology database, and public health database. And just moving on, I actually had those 2 slides mixed up. I actually wanted that after this slide here. We're sort of moving on to health and medical, and then sort of talking a little bit more about, the labels or the logos currently on screen. You'll see some examples of peer-reviewed, evidence-based medical information from prestigious publishers such as BMJ journals, The Lancet, the New England Journal of Medicine, and the Journal of Nurse Practitioners, among other sources. Also unique to ProQuest in this area are over 84,000 full-text dissertations and theses for discovering the latest trends and most up-to-date topics. Now, to review what's in the science and technology piece or component, there are 11 SciTech databases, and these include databases in advanced technologies in aerospace, agricultural science. You've got the biological science database, the computer science database. We've got the Earth, atmospheric, and aquatic science database, engineering database, excuse me, environmental science database, material science database, military database, science database, and then finally we see the telecommunications database. And so essentially this is kind of a general overview to science, the field of science, and this is sort of a really great, again, you're getting sort of the up-to-date information published in multiple formats, different outlets, and it's just a I can't imagine a sort of a clearer picture of sort of the state of learning, education, and research available in these databases. Some of the critical publishers in the SciTech area will include Elsevier, NPG, Springer, Cambridge University Press, and the American Meteorological Society. And then finally, for social sciences, the social science database available in ProQuest Central are outlined in red on your screen. And they also have the PQC label on them just to signify that they are part of ProQuest Central. You'll see a sociology database, political science database, criminal justice database, library science database. You've got databases for education, linguistics, a social science database, and a religion database as well. So this concludes the content presentation of today's webinar. I do want to mention when I share my deck with you, I've got many more slides that focus on specific collections within ProQuest Central, again, that you can spend more time at, investigating and looking over. But now I would actually like to sort of be addressing searching this content when using ProQuest Central. And today we're going to be, the technology term for us here is called masquerading. We're going to be masquerading with your account to actually give a sort of a real world example of searching this product in your system. I want to start, and Karen mentioned how to navigate to this resource. And now that we're here, I want to start by showing how to create that My Research account. It's not a requirement, but it's going to give you much more functionality on the platform due to that persistent presence that exists along with your account. So again, this isn't required, but if you would like to be able to sort of enable this additional functionality to get started, all you'd have to do is click that little silhouette icon that we see here in the top right-hand corner of the homepage. If we click on that, you can, of course, sign into an existing account if you have one already, or you can create a new My Research account. I'm not going to do that from scratch today, but I did just want to show you quickly. Okay. So when we're doing the masquerading, it actually takes you to that sort of login page. But you'll see, I can't sort of mimic that right now, but you would see basically it's just sort of the normal details or processes that you would go through when authenticating such an account. And again, it's going to allow you to sort of set alerts. It's going to allow you to save search results and maybe export them en masse at a later point instead of at the end of your individual searches. So it's definitely recommended that you create that account. It's a free resource. But here, we've got the basic search page. And we do see that, at the bottom of the basic search page, we see the included databases. If we click Show All, we can actually see that complete list of all databases. By selecting or sort of hovering over the icon, the eye icon next to the database name and selecting it, you would see, further. It looks like I can't click it here as well for the due to the sort of that masquerading technology, but you would be able to sort of begin to be able to searching those individual databases if you wanted to sort of slice or splice down your overall result set and focus on one particular repository. Now, I'm going to, of course, you can easily input a search term right here in basic search, whether it be a single word or perhaps a couple of words that you might want the service to query. For your particular collection, I just want to show you here, I've just inputted the phrase mortgage rate. If you go ahead and initiate that search, you'll see that, oh, okay, this was just, I might actually have to re-authenticate here now. I'm sorry for that. This was just working a moment ago. Let me try that again. No, okay. Give me one moment here. I have to stop my screen sharing just for a moment. Sorry for that. This is something that comes up every so often when we're doing the sort of the logging in as the customer. So I just have to access it once more to sort of reset my cookies here. This is just going to take a moment.
No worries, Jimmy. I was just gonna break in here and
Sure.
one thing that you didn't mention in the demo, but that I
Uh-huh.
love about ProQuest is how accessible everything is. And I just have to give props to your the team there because if we ever do come across anything that's not accessible, like a PDF that needs remediation or anything like that, you all are so responsive to all of those requests. And I just wanted to take a moment just to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Oh, we really appreciate that. It is, there is not to, I don't think it would be considered a humble brag, but there is quite a bit of work that goes into making something accessible, and it is
Yeah.
really important to us. So that's, in addition to other ProQuest offerings, there's, we have another service called Alexander Street. They
Mhm.
have a video collection called Avon Academic Video Online. And if there's ever something in there that needs to be captioned, if we get a request for that, we're typically able to complete those requests in about 2 weeks. So yes, we appreciate the recognition there.
Thank you.
So we're back in here now, and I again do apologize for that hiccup. And so you'll see, and Karen, I'm not sure if this is a purposeful configuration on the back end, but there's a setting in the admin portal where you can set your default search to not include items with full text. So you'll see that. Let me just do that one more time. I've gone. Let me clear this out once more. When I input my search term or my phrase or my terms, and I go ahead and initiate this basic search by clicking the magnifying glass, we see that it's sort of altering my search string and adding the field codes for no full text, which is fine. That might be a purposeful decision, but that is sort of limiting some of the items that you would be seeing. So Karen, definitely let
Thanks.
me know after
Yeah,
the
thanks
session.
for pointing that out. we'll
Uh,
touch base
yeah,
with our
actually, I have
technical.
an answer for that.
Okay.
So real quickly, we did set that on purpose because
Okay.
we have found that students at UAGC get frustrated if they get
Oh,
results back that are not full text. So we made sure to include only results that we actually have the full text. We didn't want the abstracts and indexing only, the articles that are only abstract or indexed in our collection. And so everything that students will get in the results will be full text available, because we just found that students would contact us and get really frustrated and upset that they couldn't access the full
sure.
text.
That would definitely make sense why you would configure it
Yeah.
as such. So this is fine. You can perform a search as is, but I actually want to go ahead and sort of give that sort of advanced search panel a little tour first before we come back and look at the results page here. So I'm just going to go ahead and return to just that homepage once more by clicking ProQuest Central. And I guess actually before moving, well, actually I'll wait for that. I'm going to show you the entrepreneurship database in just a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and visit, let me clear my field here once more. We're going to visit advanced search this time, and you're going to see it does give you a lot more functionality. That default is still set here. Yeah, so that if you come to advanced search, if a student were to do that or anyone else, it will still be configured as such. But if you wanted to expand the items yourself, if you're conducting research yourself and you want sort of that full range of results, I would recommend setting this to anywhere. But again, the default currently is going to be the to no full text, as you can see, or anywhere except full text is what it's called. So let's go ahead and set that back to anywhere. We'll go ahead and just put in our our terms here. And because they're not, in quotation marks, it's going to find these two separate terms anywhere. Before we actually perform the search, I just want to call out, you can find recent searches that you've performed and sort of access those quickly without having to sort of recreate them again. The thesaurus is an excellent component of advanced search. You can find, essentially all of the terms, that are going to be found or indexed in the collection, just to ensure that you're, inputting the appropriate terminology and that you're considering any alternative terms that might also relate to that particular topic. So that's an excellent resource. Field codes, just to, quickly while we're here, those are those sort of the search syntax that you can add to search strings to really craft a very precise search without having to potentially use the drop downs, configuring each line. If you're familiar with all the field codes, you can actually string that together yourself. And we do just, quickly, I just want to show you, we do have search tips, which opens up a sort of an in-app interface, as you can see here, that just sort of walks you through some quick tips, such as this example. If you want to search for the phrase artificial intelligence alone, you want to make sure to surround that with quotation marks to let the system know you want that exact phrase. But we're just going to, keep it sort of simple here. We'll leave our search term set to mortgage rates. We'll be searching that anywhere. You do have, before I actually hit the search button, just wanted to point out, you can sort of limit by source type, by document type. You can sort of limit by language if you'd like. These are all components of that advanced search. And if we go ahead and just press the search button now, we're going to be taken essentially to that same results page that you would end up on were you to just perform that basic search. So you'll see that you've got here on the results page, we have for this, these two sort of broad terms that could actually mean a lot of different things or be used differently. We see we've got, 4.5 million results. If we wanted to sort of whittle that down a little bit, make sure it's just mortgage rates, we can put that in quotation marks. And that's probably going to focus this down, we'll see in just a moment, and allow us to, by quite a bit. We see 160,000 items now. If we look, we can sort our items differently. The default sorted by option is by relevance. That I would say is the best, makes the most sense for the default, but you can resort your result set by oldest to newest or newest to oldest. It's your choice. You can limit your items. We see we are limiting to just full text right now. But we do have another limiting factor for only peer-reviewed items as well, which is, essential or handy to really get to the highest quality research, in the repository here. If you wanted to, you can limit by source type by clicking those names here. You see all those different source types. You can reconfigure that here as well on the standalone window. You've got the complete date range for items in the repository in the service. If you wanted to change that, you can just drag these arrows here below the sort of timeline, and if you were to press update, that would alter your results, even further, which is handy. You can, filter by publication title, which is neat, document type, subject. This is, sort of goes hand in hand, I would say, with the thesaurus, these sort of indexed subjects that can help, again, make sure that you're focusing in on a particular topic that's pertinent to your research. So, some of these, options are pretty self-explanatory, but you can start with a pretty broad search if you'd like. And with these filtering options, you can still, narrow in or focus in on a particular set of resources that would be useful, that you might want to review for a research project or a class project. We can see that for any one of the items, if you point your mouse over its title link, you'll see a little pop-up tooltip that gives you some details, sort of a summary of that same information. You can also press the quick look button here. That's there's one for each search result. That's going to open up a sort of a separate panel on the right side of the window here, where we have the ability to see sort of further metadata information. We can see those subjects company information, where it's found in the collection. We also have the ability to see the full document if we want to, just by clicking the link here. That's great. Let's go back now. We're going to close the quick look window, and just to point out again, that quick look will appear for any one of these search results. Let's now, what I want to find is a full text, PDF article here. So we're just going to go ahead and just select another one. I'm going to click on its title link so that we're taken to the individual sort of page for that particular item. And so we can see we've got we've selected a full text article to look at. At the top of the page, again, we have those essential details: title, author, publication date, etc. At the top of the dedicated page here, we have the abstract, and then we have sort of the full text below. This looks like it's actually in an audio format. Oh, this is not actually. That it is full text. It's just not the type of item I was expecting. Let me actually let's stick to journals here. I want to make sure we're drilling down. There we go. This is exactly what we're looking for here. Okay, so we're just going to click one of these items. There we go. Okay, so this is what we're looking for here. This is actually an instance of a resource with a full text and a full text PDF available. So again, below the abstract, we actually have the full text of this resource. If you want to, you can listen to this resource as well. So there's a link right here that we see listen. I find myself being able to follow along much better if I have that sort of voice going along with myself as I read. On the left side, you've got the different views that you can display. Right now, we're just on full text. If you actually wanted to look at the full text PDF version, you can click there. It's going to take you to the sort of Insight PDF viewer panel, where you can actually scroll through the article itself to be able to read it in the PDF format. Of course, you could download these PDFs as well if you wanted to. We've got an item for that. If you click right here, you can save that PDF to your drive if you'd like. And just to point out, you can, if you want to drill down to the references that are in this resource, those are items here. And then just to point out, there's a heading on the left called Documents Shared with Others. And this is, it's almost an idea, I wouldn't say borrowed from Web of Science, but it's the realization that, simply by looking at cited references in another article, you can glean some details or information as to whether it might be useful for something you're researching. So documents with shared references mean these are other items in the collection that have at least one of these, in this instance, 7 references cited. And again, that by itself, if they're also citing this particular resource and you're considering this for a project or assigning for a class project, let's say, these would be other items here that you would be able to look at. So that's definitely nice. And then just quickly here, I do see my demo is running a little bit long here. I do apologize. I just want to show a quick example of a video resource to show how to look at that. I can click the back button or just go to back to results if we want to jump right back there. Let's drill down again. I want to go look at I want to look at document type rather. No, I'm sorry. We're going to look at source type first. We're going to clear scholarly journal. And now we're going to look at more so that we can, let's see, is there anything? Oh, actually, this is a resource. I'm not seeing any videos here. Oh, here on the right, here's a video that matches this search here. So let's go and we'll take a look. We've just got one item, which is great. So we can click on it if we wanted to sort of examine or watch this video. I'm clicking on its title. And then here we have an example of a video. You're going to find the transcript for the video. Let's see. Well, actually, this video is not transcribed, it looks like. But if it was, you would find the transcript below the video player itself, but I'm not actually seeing that in this example here. But we do see that on the right, since it's a video file, you can download the file as an MP4 file. If you come across something that's audio only, it'll be available for download in an MP3 file format, which you can, of course, save to your device and utilize whatever way you'd like. And then, I wanted to mention that, beyond the basic and advanced search options that we've already looked at, there's an additional interface that I find extremely useful, even just for my personal reading, and that's the publication, the option to sort of browse by publication. So we've gone back to sort of the homepage for ProQuest Central. We can see that if we click on publications here, these are all of the available publications. We can, again, drill down by source type, subject, language, publisher, or database. If we want to input a specific publication name, like The Economist, let's say, we could input that right here. This sort of prolific, publication, they've got quite a few sort of variants that are indexed here. But if we wanted to, let's say, look at The Economist in London, we can click on it here. A publication search like the one we see here is going to take you to a specific publication with all its details and links to its articles. You can browse a specific issue or search directly within a selected publication for a particular topic or article. So again, this is a nice way to just a different way to sort of search the collection. You're pivoting and you're sort of starting at one particular title in the collection and just limiting your search to that resource. And it's an interesting way to actually find individual articles. Now, just the last thing I want to touch on in this demo was that entrepreneurship database. As I mentioned, you can look at all of the included databases here in ProQuest Central, right in this list at the bottom of the homepage. If you wanted to limit your search to any one of these resources, you would just click on its title. I'm just going to go ahead and just click ABI Info. You'll see that it takes you to that individual resource if you wanted to. Again, if you do that, you've sort of left ProQuest Central and you're now querying just that individual resource. If you want to stay within ProQuest Central and just modify which databases that are included, you can go to Change Databases. You'll see that this list is sort of overarching across the whole ProQuest platform, and it'll be configured differently depending on how you've accessed it and which product. So you can see for ProQuest Central, if we want to query the entire collection here, you might have noticed ABI Inform was only selected, and that's because I had clicked on that one resource. But when you have the entire ProQuest Central option marked, which it is by default, you'll see all of the individual components of this product. And if you wanted to, you can deselect any one of the, if you're performing, conducting business research, let's say, and perhaps, there is still, overlap, let's say in health research. But if you wanted to sort of remove that from your result set, you can deselect health and medical collection. So I wanted to point that out. While we're here, this is also where I wanted to show how that entrepreneurship database is actually a separate product. So this is something you probably have linked from that A to Z databases, A to Z database list as well. But if not, from any homepage or any sort of search page on the ProQuest platform, all you would have to do is visit that. I'm sorry, I'm clicking around so much here. Visit that Change Database window, and it's going to give you this list. So from here, we can just click on Entrepreneurship Database, and you can see that takes us to the entrepreneurship database itself. And essentially, this entrepreneurship database contains a unique and powerful database collection designed to arm entrepreneurs with vital resources for developing and researching their ideas while providing valuable insight to help progress and grow their products or services. And so a lot of the same search criteria or search parameters are going to be applied here as well. But we can see that this is a sort of a separate slice of the overarching ProQuest platform collection. You can perform a basic search here or an advanced search, and you're going to be taken to, again, a somewhat similar window where you can search for items, resources that are in this particular product, and you're really going to interact with it, almost identically as the ProQuest Central interface. It's just that we pivoted, or we took a turn, in the ProQuest platform to go from ProQuest Central to the entrepreneurship database. If we wanted to, we could go back to, ProQuest Central, and we're going to have the option to search this database as well. So with that said, I do apologize. I'm a couple minutes over the time I wanted to, so I do apologize for that. At this point, I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm able to see the chat. I can see here.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Awesome. Yo, definitely. I see, William, you set up your account. That's great to hear. And I really, there's no other than maybe if you're just going to be a one-off student. I mean, even if you're a student at your university, you would still want to make an account, I would say. Perhaps if you're at a public library and weren't going to be accessing the collection or the product again, maybe that might be an instance where you wouldn't care to make my research account. But it is really nice. Let's see here. And yeah, I see, Karen, you mentioned the accessibility. Really appreciate the feedback there. It looks like there's no questions in the chat. So if anyone wants to ask a question, I'll open the floor, but I'm always happy to answer questions, after the fact as well. Sometimes that's when the questions really come up, is when you get a chance to play with it along with the content that we've sort of covered here.
I just another shout out for another RefWorks or another ProQuest product is I love browsing in ProQuest and doing research in ProQuest just because of how seamless saving things to RefWorks is from ProQuest, because it's a Clarivate product as well. So that's just one thing I like to point out is that we do provide RefWorks accounts to all faculty and students. And yeah, it's just a great feature when you're searching in ProQuest or anywhere on the web or in the library. Remembering to save your research to RefWorks is always a benefit.
Definitely. That's, a lot of users may just need their research for a particular class project. I like to hang on to everything I collect. It's just, so that I can come back to it later. It's, I guess I'd just say a citizen scientist, but it's like,
yeah. Is your background library science? Do you mind my answer?
Only in this, I've been with the organization since I was 18, and so I don't have any official, degree with library sciences, but I've worked with librarians for quite some time.
Yeah, you seem like you speak librarian. So yeah. I learned a lot just from listening to this, so I appreciate it.
We have another bibliographic management tool called EndNote as well. And I was actually with that team for the bulk of my tenure. And I've just now recently, my product portfolio has grown to ProQuest. And I'm really excited to talk about it. It's just, it's a wonderful resource. I sort of speechless when trying to describe it. Yeah.
I know it's huge. And definitely, with AI, things are improving all the time and getting better. So I'm excited to see where that takes our databases in the future too. So
yeah, I'm happy to share. I know we've got the name is slipping me right now, but we're rolling out some AI research tools to help sort of help students and researchers not only sort of determine how to approach their research, but it's going to be designed to sort of help pose like critical follow-up questions, so that it's not just providing results, let's say, but it's actually helping
Right.
sort of think about, conducting the research itself.
That's
And so,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be sure to include a link to that sort of announcement page in my follow-up
Cool.
email that I'll send to you. Yeah.
Please do. That sounds really interesting. Yeah, those are the kinds of like applications that, yeah, we're all excited to dig into and sort of understand better. Yeah.
Very cool. I was just going to quickly, I'm happy to answer any other question, but before I forget, I did just want to put a link to that optional training survey in the chat. Again, any thoughts you have, it's just 2 questions or, 2 radio buttons you have to click really. And it sort of surprising how, important those results are, but the feedback is very impactful. And it's sort of one of the only ways that we have to sort of measure our success with our learners. So again, really appreciate any feedback you want to share. I guess I'll also mention, I'll include a link to the entrepreneurship LibGuide that we maintain as well. And on screen, I have, this is the title or sort of the publication list or title list for the entrepreneurship database itself. And there's quite a few resources, over 1,500 titles in that collection. So that's pretty cool. I'll be sure to include this in my follow-up email as well. And just to sort of, again, make sure that we level set, everyone at the end of this session now, you should be able to identify the strengths of the ProQuest Central sort of product. It's a part of a bigger ProQuest platform that you have access to, but there are unique strengths to each one of our components or each one of the products of the ProQuest platform. And again, you should be able to identify those strengths. And we looked at, different ways of using the ProQuest Central system or platform to locate the diverse content in there. And again, primarily we were looking today at basic searching, advanced searching, and we did take a look at that publication specific search as well. So please, if anyone feels like you didn't get that, please definitely feel free to reach out to me. I did want to point out before we wrap, we've got our ProQuest Central LibGuide. And again, I'm going to include direct links to these in my email. But in addition to that, we have the overarching ProQuest platform LibGuide. There's that service center article I was mentioning, the What's New in ProQuest Central. It's updated quarterly. And so again, our most recent update was, I believe, November 2023. At least that was the last time it was updated. And you can see, hundreds of resources added to the service. And like I mentioned, I'm your dedicated customer success and training manager. But what we're trying to do if I happen to be sick suddenly and out of the office, we're trying to coordinate questions or training requests through training@proquest.com, so that if I happen to be out of the office unexpectedly, my manager or one of my team leads would get that request and be able to send it to another colleague who would be able to answer something if it was a time sensitive matter. And with that said, I want to thank everyone for joining me today and really appreciate that opportunity to connect and chat about ProQuest Central. Hope you found it useful, and hope to see you in a future webinar.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. It was a pleasure having you. Thanks for sharing all of this with us.
Thanks again. Take care.